All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pitch Perfect Live. I am Nicci Willis. Thank you so much for joining me. Today is a little bit different today. As you can see, I'm in front of my plants. Yes, and I am a millennial plant mom. That is an actual thing. But I digress. Thanks so much for joining me on Pitch Perfect Live, where usually every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I am on with a brand new business leader, and we are working on tweaking their business pitch. Because what I've known and what I've come to understand as a small business owner, as a business leader, and as a speaker for many, many years is that business owners, there are a lot of people out there, business owners, entrepreneurs, business leaders who have incredible ideas, but they don't quite know how to make it land, right? Or how to connect with their audience. And I've been doing that for almost 20 years. And so I started Pitch Perfect Live because I wanted to help other entrepreneurs, other business leaders to unlock the incredibleness that they already have and package it differently so that it connects and it lands with their clients and with their audience. But tonight, I don't have a guest tonight. It's actually yours truly. And tonight, I am going to share the 5 things that I do before I speak on any stage. Now, I promise you that this is a game changer. I started doing this honestly. It just came out of habit. It came out of just, um, trying certain things and different things and seeing what stuck and what didn't stick, and understanding myself and how it works. I have been, like I said, I've been on stages for almost 21 years now, really. And anything from hosting to being on podcasts, to being on panels, to being a keynote speaker, even to serving at my church. I have been with a microphone in my hand for quite some time. And there are things that I have realized that are true game changers and that have really worked for me. And I want to share that with you guys today. So I'm so glad that you're here. Listen, I do have the chat on. All right, I can see the chat. I'm not on my phone this time. So I kind of get this whole array of things, which is really cool. So if you want to chat, you definitely can do that. You do have to be subscribed. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and then hit the notification button so that you are notified every time I go live or every time I upload new content. I will be ramping that up more and more this year. So I'm super excited about that. And you get to be a part of all the fun. So definitely go ahead and subscribe, and then also go ahead and join me in the chat. But I am going to get started here. Let me make sure that I have all the things and that you guys can hear me okay. And yeah, I think we are. I think we are good. I think we're good. All right. So the top 5 things that I do before I take any stage, again, like I said, it's whether I am speaking on a podcast or on a panel, or whether I am hosting an event, whether I am speaking at a school or just a keynote speech anywhere. This is what I do. So the first thing I do is, and if you have followed me for any amount of time, you know that this is true. And that I talk about this all the time. But the one thing that I have to get clear on is who I'm talking to. Okay. I It's really a game changer because most people prepare what they're going to say. All right. But I prepare also who I'm saying it to. All right. So, first thing is to get clear on who I'm talking to, not just the topic. All right. So, before I ever step on stage, I want to know where are these people at in life right now. I want to know, why did this person show up today. I want to know what's likely happening in their head in this moment, and you know Like, where are they emotionally? I really want to know that. And if I don't already know my audience, a lot of times I will reach out to the host of the event and I will ask these questions. Um, if the host doesn't know this, then this is actually a gift for them because they actually want to know this too. They actually also want to be in the mind of the audience members. They want to know where they are too. They need to know, why did these people show up today? Why do I have them here? Why are they here? Right? And in order for me to be successful, I need to have some clarity around that. Now, I've had moments where I've gone to audiences where I'm very familiar with them. And so in that case, I can pretty much get the gist of who I'm speaking to. But if I don't, I go ahead and I ask the host, who am I talking to? What's my audience like? I do have a sheet, kind of a cheat sheet. If you want that cheat sheet, I will actually give that to you. All you have to do is join my green room community. Now, green room community right now is free, okay? But for this week and this week only, if you join the green room community, I will actually send you my list of questions that I send to the host that will prepare me for whatever event that I am attending. All right. So if you want that, just go to NicciWillis.com, find the green room. The green room that I am building is a community of business leaders who, before they get on the stage or before they take the boardroom or before they launch the product, they just need some practice, right? And they need to be around like-minded people to help them do that. And so I'm growing that community and I want you to be a part. So go to NicciWillis.com, hit the button, the green room, and go ahead and join and be a part of the conversation. Okay, so first things first, I have to know who I'm speaking to, not just the topic, but who I'm speaking to. Number two, I have to set the intention. All right, so I need to decide the destination. All right, somebody said they can't hear me. Oh, you hear me? You hear me just fine. Okay, wonderful, awesome. Glad you can hear me. Thanks so much for joining me, by the way. And tonight, I'm giving you the top 5 things that I do before I take any stage, whether it's podcast, whether it is a panel, whether I am being a keynote speaker, whether I'm in a pageant. I forgot about that too. Or whether I'm just, serving the community in any capacity. If I've got a microphone, these are the top 5 things that I do. All right, so I set the intention. That's number 2. I decide the destination. I don't walk into a stage without knowing where I want to take the people. All right. Even if it's a 2-minute welcome, sometimes I am a host and I literally have 2 minutes, okay, to get the people's attention, right? Command the stage, gain trust, and then get them to the destination that I'm looking for. And so, where do I want them to be emotionally? And where do I want them to be mentally when I'm done speaking? Those are the questions that I ask. Um, and then also, especially if I'm hosting, I'm asking myself, what state do they need to be in for what's coming next? All right. So for my hosts out there, if you are hosting, if I am hosting, and I know that, a really amazing act is coming up or some talent or something amazing is coming up, then I know that my tone, my inflection, the way I'm carrying myself, the way I'm pacing my words, the way I'm leaning into the audience, I want them to be emotionally and physically and mentally ready to receive the next act. Have you ever been to a concert and the host is gearing us up for the next act, and he or she doesn't know who they are, doesn't know anything about them, can barely pronounce the name of the next act. And then it just kind of leaves you kind of just dumpy and not even ready to even accept it, right? You're almost like, a lot of times the host prepares the audience for the talent that's coming. Okay. Even if the talent is not that great, I can hype up an audience, okay, to be mentally prepared to accept and really be excited for the talent that's coming up. But it's all in the fact that I determine where we're going prior to getting on that stage. All right. And a lot of times you can see when a host doesn't know how to land the plane, when they don't know how to fully prepare the audience for what's coming next. And that's just because they didn't ask the question. So that is one of the things that I do. I ask the question. All right. I'm going to give it to you again. Where do I want them to be emotionally when I'm done speaking? Where do I want them to be mentally when I'm done speaking? And what state, especially if something's coming up next, what state do they need to be in for what's coming up next? I remember I was giving a keynote speech for a women's organization that served women who had been trafficked and in domestic violence situations and all kinds of situations. And it was a day full of uh, great food for one, I know that, but also, tons of resources and, how to take care of your health and how to take care of your mental health. And, they had some pampering things in there. So a lot of amazing things. But in my questionnaire that I gave the host, they informed me that these women, a lot of these women were coming in very, defensive, almost very guarded, I would say. And that was a perfect understanding for me to see where they are. And me as the morning keynote speaker, okay, with speaking first and then preparing them for all these amazing things that they have to coming up next. I realized where their starting point is. And then I understood, okay, my destination needs to be to bring their guard down and get them prepared and excited and ready to receive all this amazing positive, these amazing resources and affirmations and things like that they're going to receive throughout the day. Okay. Now, when I tell you I only had 20 minutes for that keynote speech, but these women left, some of them were laughing because I had some jokes in there. I had some vulnerable moments in there. Some of them were tearing up. A few of them came and said, "Hey, you were speaking right to me, and I'm so excited about today." And then the host said, after the fact, because I couldn't stay for the entire event, but the host said, "Thank you so much," because so many of them that we saw last year, they had their guards up. This year, they had their guard down and they were able to receive all the things that we had for them because I had prepared them in that keynote speech. So, understanding what your intention is so important. So important. And that's the second thing that I do before I take any stage. And I just remind myself of that. You never want to get lost in who you're talking to and where they are and where you're trying to take them. All right. I'm telling you guys, these are game changers. Once I realized these 5 things that I do and that I have developed, it really made speaking and communicating so much easier. Truly, so much easier. Okay, now this one, you might not think that this is a game changer, but for me, it actually is. And I used to do this a lot in private, but once I realized that I didn't care, I do it all the time now. And I could be, in a green room full of people. I'm going to do the same thing because I know that I want to be an amazing speaker. I know that I want to connect with people, right? And so the third thing I do is I get quiet. I get centered. I actually stop talking to people And I begin to pray and I begin to talk to God. And I do this all in front of a mirror, all of it. um, when I pray, when I get quiet, I'm not just centering myself spiritually, but I'm actually checking my alignment. All right. I'm checking my body language at the time. I'm checking my poise. I'm checking my energy. I'm checking my face. I want to make sure that I'm mirroring not just the audience, but I'm also mirror. I also need to mirror the journey that I'm taking them on. And so I'm talking to God, I'm talking to myself, I'm praying, I'm speaking affirmations, and I'm literally doing this all in the mirror. Now, people that are around me are probably thinking, man, this girl is so self-centered. She is just all in the mirror before, she takes the stage. But I'm actually centering myself. I'm actually talking to God. I'm actually looking myself in the eye because that is so important when you actually look yourself in the eye. You see your true self. And that has truly been a game changer. I'm affirming myself, I'm talking to myself. And if anything feels off, I can look myself in the eye and I can check myself before I get on that stage. I'm seeing myself first. Before I get on that stage, I'm looking into my own eyes first. Before I get on that stage, I'm speaking affirmations, I'm speaking life over myself. Before I get on that stage, I'm talking to God. And I'm a believer. I am a follower of Jesus Christ. And so I believe in the Holy Spirit. So I'm asking the Holy Spirit, anything that is misaligned with you, right? I'm asking him to provide clarity, right? And people think that I don't get nervous. I always get a little nervous, and that's okay. It's totally fine. I always get a little nervous. And so in that moment, when I'm looking myself in the mirror, when I'm talking to myself, when I'm looking myself in the eye, I'm telling myself that it's okay to be a little nervous. And that gives space for the Holy Spirit to also take over. And that's just me. I'm telling you the 5 things that I do before I speak on any stage. And that is one of the big ones that I do. So if you ever see me backstage and I'm in a mirror or in a bathroom and I'm in a mirror and I'm talking to myself, you can say hey, but I'm probably in prayer. All right. Look, if this is resonating with you, go ahead and put a comment in there. Go ahead and put it in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. And then you can also let me know some of the things that you do before you take the stage, or if you have a question about, some of the rituals or things that you do before you take the stage or before you speak. Let me know in the comments. I'm a lifelong learner, and I always love to hear what other people are doing. So put it in the comments. Let me know what you do. These are the things that I do that have truly been game changers in how I show up and how I present, in how I speak. And I love sharing these things with you. All right. Number four, I decide what I'm not going to do on stage before I get on stage. Now, this is one that people probably also won't expect. And if you think about it, you think about, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm definitely gonna do this, and I'm gonna kill him with this. This is gonna be amazing. But do you ever stop to think what you are not going to do on stage? Okay. I think about a lot of times I'm a talker. If you've ever met my husband, he is the exact opposite of me. Okay. And so we are a match made in heaven. But sometimes I over explain. And sometimes that's not needed. So if I'm going over my notes and I see that there are things that maybe aren't quite needed, and maybe a pause is needed, I decide that I'm not going to over explain. I decide that I'm not going to shrink back and be apologetic about my presence and be apologetic about being there. I'm not rushing to prove myself. And a lot of times that's where pace comes in. That's where the rhythm of your voice comes in. When you are trying to get to a point or when you're trying to prove yourself to the audience, you tend to rush. I'm going to slow down because this is just a conversation, right? This is just me connecting with you. That's all it is. And I am not going to rush to prove myself. I am not going to perform for approval. I already know who I am. I told myself in the mirror. But I already know who I am. So I'm not performing for people's approval. In that moment, I'm telling you, that is where clarity and authority are created. Okay? Confidence isn't about adding more and being super duper duper busy. It's really also about removing what doesn't belong. And I don't know if you are a bullet point person or if you like to write your entire speech out. For me, I do a little bit of both. It kind of just depends. But in those last moments, I stop and I think, what do I not need to over explain? How do I take out things and remove things so that I'm not rushing, so that I can control my pace? I have the authority, okay? I'm going to walk in that authority unapologetically. And so, what things need to be removed? What do I not need to do before I get on that stage? What do I not need to carry with me before I get on that stage? Yeah, it's different, but this is what I do. I remember I have been a host now for Gigi's Playhouse. They are an amazing organization for people with Down syndrome from infancy all the way to age 99 plus and their families. They provide free resources for people with Down syndrome and their families. And I host their fundraising gala here in Las Vegas. Well, I thought that I needed just all this over the top language, right? Because we are doing a lot of fundraising and things like that. And so I had all of these, crazy jokes prepared. And I had, I was going to talk about real estate and all these other things. And then after taking a peek into the crowd, I actually walked the crowd a little bit, got to know a few of the people. I took all that out. I scrapped it all. Now, was the teleprompter guy happy with me? Probably not, because he had to catch up. But it was a good decision because I didn't have to do too much. All right. I knew that I could connect in a very real and powerful way by not doing too much. So I decided what I'm not going to do on stage. Hope this is helping. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. Totally get the need to stop being apologetic or looking for affirmations. Yeah. For sure. Let me slide this over because I want to make sure that I can see it all. Looking for approval and affirmations. Yes, for sure. Okay. Number 5. This is the last one. I choose one moment. I have a few moments actually, but I at least choose one moment to be fully human. I choose one moment to be fully human. I don't leave vulnerability to chance. Okay. Before I take the stage, I already know the moment where I'm going to slow down. I already know the moment that I'm going to stop being super polished. And I already know that moment when I'm going to just stop and let the room actually feel me. And that moment for me it is planned. The moment is usually, when I talk about my family or my kids, or I'll slide in a joke that I see has a commonality in it, right? That shows the human side of everyone. And in that moment of making sure that I'm just fully present and fully human in front of everybody, and sometimes it could be thousands, this is where you build trust. And where trust is built, I'm telling you, where trust is built, everything else lands. If you build trust through a pointed level of vulnerability, now, and I say a pointed level of vulnerability because you have to be careful that you don't bleed all over people, right? Or that you don't overshare all over people. You got to get to that point. But when you do, and you show that pointed level of vulnerability, it builds that trust, and everything, I promise you, everything lands differently. Everything. I love it. This is actually, if you are a churchgoer and you have, those moments where someone will pray and they'll share, a level of vulnerability where you say, that's me. They're talking about maybe a situation that they had with their spouse or their children, or even a lighthearted, conversation that they're having about maybe something that their dog did. I remember a friend of mine, he's a preacher here in Las Vegas, and he shared about how his dog got loose and pooped in his neighbor's yard. And the neighbor caught it on their Ring camera. And it was hilarious, right? Because if you are a dog owner, you love your pup very, very much. But sometimes they can be a little naughty. And he was talking about that. And so if you're a pet owner, you know that how pets can be. And but it was a perfect level of vulnerability that got people to see the inside without him exposing too much, but also building trust in that moment so that he could land the plane with the rest of the message. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And in those moments of vulnerability that are pointed and that are planned, I'm telling you, it can truly, truly change the game for you. Even if it's a small time frame. Like I said, sometimes I host and I will have 90 seconds to get my point across, right? Well, then I can say, a little blurb about my kids, or I can say a little blurb about what my husband and I are doing in reference to the announcement that I'm making. But and it allows people to also give a frame of reference, trust me in what I'm saying, and then remember what I've said. So it's I'm telling you, this is huge. It is huge. Um, Not always as simple. So you have to work on it. And I feel like this one was the one that I've had to hone in the most. But practice makes perfect. All right. So 5 things. All right. I'm going to go over them really quickly. Number 1, get clear on who you're talking to. You're not just preparing a topic, you are preparing for who you're talking to. All right. Number 2, make sure you set the intention. All right. If you know who you're talking to and you know their starting point, then what is the destination that you need to take them to? All right. Where do they need to be emotionally and mentally after you've spoken? Or, especially if you're hosting, what state do they need to be in for what's coming next? Number 3, go ahead and get quiet and center yourself. And be okay with talking in the mirror to yourself and looking yourself in the eye. But it's a moment where you can get some final clarity, where if you are a believer, you can talk to God about what aligns with you. And then you can also actually see yourself. You can see your body language, your poise. You can see your energy level, all of that, all of that. Number 4, decide what you're not going to do on stage. I'm not going to overshare. I'm not going to shrink back and be apologetic. I'm not going to rush through just so I can prove myself and pile on as much as I possibly can. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And we're not performing for approval. We are walking in authority, period. And number 5, choose one moment to be fully human, not oversharing, but a pointed moment of vulnerability where you can slow down, people can actually feel you, not just hear you, and you can build trust that helps your message land. Well, I hope this helped. I hope this helped. Yes, intentional vulnerability. You guys are awesome in the comments. Thank you so much. Let me know which one resonated for you. I'd love to know. Put it in the comments. I read every single one. So let me know which one resonated with you. And listen, I am building the green room. All right. So it's for business leaders, business owners, micro entrepreneurs who want to be around other like-minded business leaders. And, before you get on stage, before you enter in a boardroom, before you launch that next product or service, and you want to communicate better and you want to help it land better and you want to be among some peers, and that's a safe space. That's what the green room is for. I'm building it out now. Make sure you go to NicciWillis.com, and that's NICCIWILLIS. Don't worry, it's in the description. I will put it in the description after this. But go ahead and join the green room. It is free right now, and I'm building it up. So you also, in the green room, will get to decide what else we do in there. So if you want to be a part, go ahead and do that. Also, next week, I will be right back here, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next Tuesday with another business leader. I've got Keith Stark coming. He is a licensed family therapist. He has just launched his private practice, y'all, and he wants more clients. So we are going to dive into his pitch and how he's communicating and positioning and landing. And we're going to have a transformation next week. So make sure you stay tuned. Thank you so much for being here, for subscribing. If you haven't, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's somewhere around there. Click it and make sure that you are hit the notification button so you're notified every time I upload new content. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.